ODM's Stephen Kariuki texts the leaders' vote counting continues in Mathare.
Mazungumzo, call it dialogue, will be through a properly structured referendum.
They have demonstrated that they are the princes, they are the lords, and the epitome of impunity in this country.
Battle lines are drawn as court begins its collection of 1 million signatures.
Plus, yet another impeachment hearing. The fate of the Machakos deputy governor now lies with the senators.
And the wrath of Mother Nature. We tell you why residents of Laikipia are a worried lot.
Good evening from the KTN News Center, and thank you for joining us this Monday night. Today is the 11th day of August 2014, and this is KTN Prime.
Indeed, we begin with politics. It's been a tight race in Mathare right from the campaign trail up to now. Today, when the residents there went to the ballot box, and ODM Stephen Kariuki maintains the lead, even as his closest rival, TNS George Wanjohi, takes a close second position.
KTN has kept a close watch on the proceedings in Mathare, and we now join our reporter Ian Wafula live from the St. Teresa's Girls' School in the constituency, which is a tallying center. And Ian, Mathare residents are counting minutes now, I believe, before the next Member of Parliament is announced. What are the projections?
A little bit of excitement right here at St. Teresa's Girls Primary School, the tallying station for the Mathare by-election. Just one more polling station to be announced. Actually, all the polling stations have been announced. I'm trying not. The noise is a bit too much. Distraction from the crowd who are already celebrating the results.
Calm down. Excuse me. Where? Hawa watu wakae chini or they go out. Nani huyo? Hello? Kuja. Can you tell those guys to come?
Tafadhali wana code tafadhali. Tafadhali madiwani, county reps, waheshimiwa tuweni na order. Tuweni na order, tugoje returning officer tangaze. Tuwe na order, chairman ndiye anaongea. Tuwe na order. Tafadhali. Manoa. Tafadhali. Asante, tuwe na hiyo order mpaka tugoje matangazo tafadhali. Wana code. Mheshimiwa Sumura tafadhali. Asante. Tuwe watulivu. Wana code, tuwe watulivu. Asante sana. Tuwe watulivu hivyo.
Hello. Tutulie tafadhali.
ODM supporters here demanding that the returning officer Joseph Masindet should announce the results right now. But I'm just joined by Nairobi chairman, ODM chairman Aladwa. How are you feeling right now? Tell me.
No, we are very happy as CORD family, and we thank the people of Mathare for electing K1 as the MP. This is a big respect for our principal leaders, Raila Amolo Odinga, Wetangula, and Kalonzo Musyoka. And this one, it is good because now we have started the mood of referendum and putting up our signatures for the referendum.
What are some of the factors that you think led to the success of your candidate here?
It's because of we decided to pick one candidate from the CORD family. That is Kariuki, and that was our good strategy that we used.
I have a question for you. Now that IEBC has conducted this election fairly, are you still going to push for the disbandment of this commission?
No, this one is a by-election. We have the agenda of disbandment of the IEBC. Still, we are supporting Raila for that agenda of disbandment of the IEBC.
Okay, so what's next for ODM?
It's about referendum. We are meeting on Wednesday to start the journey for referendum. And I'm appealing to CORD family members, CORD family, and members of CORD, or that's ODM, WIPA, and Ford Kenya, to start appending their signatures for the referendum.
Thank you very much. As we continue to celebrate here, earlier on, I'm going to take you to a story we did earlier on that is summarizing the activities that took place during the Mathare by-election. We had a chance to talk to a number of, my director informs me that I'm going to do another interview right here. Kindly talk to me.
My name is Owino Kotieno. I'm a member of the County Assembly for Sarangombe Ward, courtesy of Coalition for Reforms and Democratic Ticket. This victory is a clear indication that the people in Nairobi are frustrated, they are tired, and they are fed up with the Jubilee government. This one was a vote against Jubilee. For us, now we are moving on.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let us now take the story that I had done earlier. Then we shall come back and continue with the celebrations that are going on here. Back to you, studio.
Supporters marched from CORD and Jubilee parties clashed at the Ndururuno Primary School, hurling stones at each other before police intervened. But that was just it. A brief scuffle reported in the constituency with a total number of 88,083 registered voters. In an election contested by 9 aspirants, it has been argued as a two-horse race between CORD's Stephen Kariuki and Jubilee's George Wanjohi. Kariuki cast his vote at Ndururuno Primary School, while his counterpart at Valley Bridge polling station. Only a handful of voters arrived at the polling stations 30 minutes before voting commenced, while others slowly trickled in as time went by. This is the Mathare Youth Polytechnic, one of the polling stations within Mathare constituency. About 7,200 registered voters are registered within this particular polling station. But as you can see, most of the streams here remain empty, with the officers predicting that majority of those who are coming to vote will come later on in the day. It's just about 5 hours since polling stations opened, with a seemingly low turnout here. We set out to the streets of Mathare, and business was as usual. Majority of the residents had opted to attend to their businesses rather than heading to the polling stations.
Siwezi anzia kwa kura kwa sababu kazi ni bana, kumeharibika. Kwanza nifungue kazi ndio nipate kitu ya kukura, ndio niende kwa kura baadaye.
Nangoja kwanza queue iishe. Unajua sasa bado sasa nini kubwa ni bado sasa ni kubwa.
Saa 8 kwanza nimalize kazi yangu hapa ndo niende.
IEBC Commissioner Thomas Lengule acknowledged the low turnout witnessed while making rounds within the polling stations.
30%, and we expect this to improve going into the afternoon. We expect some employers to release workers to come and vote.
Voters were asked to steer clear from polling stations immediately after casting their vote, and security presence was observed in most parts of the constituency.
Now that is a story that was done earlier by Ian Wafula on just how the voting day went for Mathare residents. You have breaking news on the bottom end of your screen. Stephen Kariuki is the new MP for Mathare, going by the numbers that we have. He garnered 14,965 votes against his closest rival, that is George Wanjohi, who garnered 14,082 votes. There were 9 contestants for this particular seat. Of course, it was a very close race between ODM and TNS, so Stephen Kariuki has managed to take that particular seat. And
you can see the celebrations there from the Tallying Center, the St. Teresa's Girls School in the constituency of Mathare, and CORD has managed to nick one there from the Jubilee's feet. Of course, that seat was held by the TNA member, TNA candidate, that was George Wanjohi, who has been defeated by ODM's Stephen Kariuki. We shall be taking you back to the St. Teresa's for the celebrations and the official announcement by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Now calls for a referendum by governors and the Coalition for Reforms and Democracy continue to draw sharp criticism.
Leaders allied to the Jubilee coalition vow to frustrate the referendum push by governors, even as CORD prepares to start collecting the 1 million signatures to support a referendum. Since the Coalition for Reforms and Democracy announced its referendum push on the 7th of last month, CORD leaders have been drumming up support for the referendum as the coalition prepares to kickstart the collection of signatures for the referendum.
Kwa hivyo mambo haya sio kuja kuleta dhiki, kuleta mambo ya kutoelewana nchi hii. Sasa mazungumzo, call it dialogue, will be through a properly structured referendum. Na tunaanza wiki hii.
But it is the latest push by governors for a referendum that has rattled feathers.
Gavana wa Kenya, I think they have demonstrated that they are the princes, they are the lords, and the epitome of impunity in this country.
The Council of Governors says the referendum will seek to strengthen devolution.
Wanadanganya wa Kenya ati devolution inawawa. Nani aliwadanganya ati devolution ni sawasawa na governance? In mathematics, kwa hesabu inaitwa commutative. It is never commutative. Huwezi kuprove devolution ni sawasawa na governance.
The West Pokot senator says the latest move by governors is a diversionary tactic by the leaders, some of whom are facing queries of accountability.
Sababu hatuwezi kutishwa kama wa Kenya na wale watu wamepewa jukumu kusaidiwa ili wafanye kazi vizuri. Sasa wanakimbia ati wanakuja na nyimbo mpya inaitwa Referendum ya governors.
Leaders allied to the Jubilee coalition are vowing to frustrate the referendum push by governors.
Na wanatuambia ni kazi wanafanya. Na wakiona kama tumbo imekataa kufura ipasavyo, wanaanza kuitisha referendum ya pesa iongezewe. Tutawanyorosha. Hiyo referendum watapeleka kwao.
Na 2014 pesa imeongezwa na 40 billion hii ya governors wanaomba. Siwapee rais na makamu wa rais nafasi waendelee kuongeza pole pole ndio waweze kulipa walimu, waweze kulipa jeshi.
Wako na maswali 13 ambayo ina maswali wanataka kuleta kwa referendum ambayo inanufaisha inaleta manufaa kwao wenyewe.
The Council of Governors has already formed a 15-member steering committee to kickstart the process of pushing for a referendum. Rita Tinina, KTN. You're watching KTN Prime. We thank you for staying with us. That push for referendum forms the basis of our big question tonight. And we're asking you, should Jubilee Coalition punish their governors who are calling for a referendum?
Indeed, George Alado, the ODM Nairobi chairman, did say that is the next item on the agenda after winning Mathare seat tonight. So what is your take on the part of Jubilee governors? Send us your yes or no response to the number 22155 and also on Twitter at Ben_Kitili, at Linda Ogutu, and at KTN Kenya.
Now, the proposed ouster of Machakos Deputy Governor Bernard Kiala is exposing alleged graft and also raising issues of governance at Machakos County. Kiala defended himself before the Senate Select Committee chaired by Senator Mutahi Kagwe. He did not have any witnesses, but some of the witnesses appearing on behalf of the Machakos County Assembly are accusing the Deputy Governor of influencing the awarding of tenders.
Ulipata kumjua tu, sio kwamba yeye ndiye alikuwa kiongozi.
Yeye nilipata namjua.
So he was part. Do you know for a fact he was part of that gang, or was he also found, was walking on the road?
Alikuwa kwa hiyo group juu alikuwa anaongea sana.
You do not have evidence to prove that, do you? So that we don't spend time on a small point.
Alikuwa nao.
How do you know?
Venye alikuwa anaongea tu, akiongea na watu hapo na huyo deputy governor.
Yes, so you say the gang came, and forced open your matatu, and people were removed forcibly.
No, si waliambiwa atoke, kuna kitu mkubwa akae hapo, akae nyuma.
Residents of Laikipia County are decrying the devastating effects of global warming as it begins to affect the county's main river, the Ewaso Nyiro. And as KTN's Karunderi reports, many families in the area can only afford a meal a day with the diminished prospects of the river.
The ravaging drought in Laikipia North has brought untold misery to its residents. Going to bed hungry is the norm rather than the exception here in Ilmotiok. As Sampo Lemitiak tells us, on a good day, her children are sent to bed with just a mug of porridge. Often there is nothing to calm the rumbling stomachs.
Chakula yetu ndio hiyo, uji. Nakunya tu kidogo uji. Naweka maziwa kidogo ya mbuzi kama hiko. Napatia watoto. Hakuna keseri, hakuna maharagwe, hakuna viazi, hakuna kabichi, hata masaru. Sisi natumia tu uji na ugali keteke, na naweka chumvi na mafuta tu.
Wakati mimi naona ile njaa, wakati mimi mtoto kidogo.
Mama shida tena ya mbuzi na ng'ombe, hakuna pahali ya kukula. Napeleka mashambani kukumboa.
A bigger concern, though, are the devastating effects of climate change, which have seen the water levels in the Ewasonyiro River dwindle.
I'm trying to bring stakeholders from Laikipia County, Samburu County, Isiolo County, Nyandarua County, and downstream up to Lorian Swamp, so we come together and conserve, because this river serves a population of 1 million.
We were surprised to come across sections that were completely dry, and in place of water were jutting rocks.
It's a river I've known since I was a young boy. We used to come and swim here during our early days when we were young boys, and it is actually a resource that we've grown knowing it as only source of water. If it were those years when I was a young boy, when I used to bring cows to drink water, I couldn't be here. I could be totally submerged into the river. But right now, it's a place more or less very dry. It has really gone from a river into a stream. And at times it gets dry. Like 2009, it was absolutely dry. It became a seasonal river.
It is for this reason that conservationists have embarked on enlightening the locals on proper use of the available water, such that the little there is shared by those who depend on it. Diversions that channel water for, say, irrigation upstream have had a negative impact.
The people upstream are agriculturalists, and the people downstream are pastoralists. So before then, people were over-abstracting water, not caring about what is happening downstream. So with the formation of RUAs under the supervision of WARMA, people have come together and have come to understand that they are supposed to leave first a reserve flow in the river, and that they must care about people who are living downstream.
The main economic activity for these communities is pastoralism, and if there is no water or pasture for their livestock, then the ripple effects of the river drying are immense.
Some of the cows walk even over 20 kilometers to get this water because the dams are dry.
The Kuruna Laisukut and Midewaso River Water Users Association are supposed to teach the locals how to conserve the river. Low levels mean fish, crocodiles, and hippopotamuses die, adversely affecting tourism.
Other wildlife like fish tend to die in hundreds and thousands here.
It is not the first time the alarm is being raised over the drought in this region. Carol Derry, KTN, Laikipia North. You're watching KTN Prime. Thank you for staying with us. Remember, the big story that we are breaking for you from Mathare is that Stephen Kariuki is the Member of Parliament elect for Mathare, having garnered 14,965 votes. You're currently waiting for that announcement by the returning officer. Ian Wafula is keeping tabs on that. When that happens, of course, we'll cross over live to him and get that announcement. Now, coming up later in the bulletin, your favorite TV crime series, Case Files. And tonight, Dennis Onsorigo features the story of a man who committed murder when he was only 17 years old. Now 21 years old, the man admits to stabbing his neighbor during a scuffle at a night vigil. Here is a sneak preview of Case Files coming up immediately after this bulletin.
Mimi nikachukua kisu na nikaweka hivi, by mistake mbaya alianguka. Kuanguka nikamdunga hapo karibu na roho hapo.
Nikasema kama dunge kisu, nikafikiria walidunga hivi.
Sasa ndio kesho yake asubuhi tukasikia ati Joseph ndiye ameshikwa.
Sina moyo nikikumbuka huyo mjukuu wangu, being the first grandson of mine. Alishindwa hata la kuongea. Nikamwambia ni kweli. Nilimuuliza, hata mtoto mwenyewe alikuwa anatetemeka, alikuwa tu mwili namna hivi.
Be sure to join Dennis Onsarigo immediately after KTN Prime for this week's edition of Case Files. Now, on the big question, we are focusing on the push for a referendum, and we're asking you, should Jubilee coalition punish their governors who are supporting the calls for a referendum?
Well, Peter Njuki says they should not even speak of it. Jubilee should engage governors to ensure Kenyans get the best out of it. Dennis Ocheng says Kenya is a democratic nation. Let's respect democracy.
Excited and honored by the people of Mathare.
Results for Mathare Special Training School.
And what are you telling the people of Mathare now that you're just about to be announced as the winner of Mathare constituency?
We've lost 2 years. We have 3 years ahead of us to build a better Mathare for all of us, regardless of party affiliation, regardless of tribe, regardless of where you come from.
Mathare is a largely cosmopolitan area. How are you going to unite the people and make sure that there's peace and unity amongst the people here?
I believe today I was voted in by people from different tribes, different backgrounds, different economic levels, and that's the unity we want. Now I'm going to reach out to the others who didn't vote for me and make sure we work together as one team.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Thanks to God, thanks to my family, thanks to all my supporters.
And you're yet to be announced as the winner. Are you going to ask your people to cool down so that you are announced? Otherwise, it's going to take a long time here.
I cannot control the people. They are happy, I can't control them. But IEBC will do their job, they'll continue doing it, and I'm sure we'll get done with it.
Thank you very much. We wish you all the best. This is KTN. That was just Stephen Karaoke, yet to be announced the winner of Mathare constituency. Let's go back to Linda Ogutu in studio.
Indeed, Ian Wafula having an interview with the MP-elect Stephen Karaoke Mathare. Let's see how that goes. Of course, we're still waiting for that announcement by the returning officer. When that happens again, we'll cross over to Mathare to get the info from Ian Wafula. We are taking that break now. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Many thanks for staying with us. This is KTN Prime, and being Monday night, you know, it is the night to inspire millions of Kenyans, especially young Kenyans watching tonight. It is the day for KTN Jobs Center, and tonight it's very interesting, especially for sports lovers. Let me now take you straight to KTN's Bonnie Tunya.
That's right, many thanks, Ben. And I know you're a huge sports lover, I should say Arsenal fan. And today we just want to put that in the center of things. We are asking the question, can sport be a serious career? Can you train to be a professional sports person? Can it bear fruit? Can it be a livelihood? Can it be something that you live for? I have all those answers coming up on KTN Job Center. That's right. If it's Monday, you know it's KTN Job Center. And what we try to do here every Monday is to have forward-looking conversations about youth unemployment, about job creation in this country, and to help you, the job seeker, move a little bit closer to your dream job. Now, a lot of people, the World Cup just came last month, and we saw a lot of reaction. We saw a lot of Kenyans celebrate the young Origi. But the question is, can you make sport your career? Can you make something out of it? And as always, as tradition, we have the job seeker segment that comes before the interview. And today on the job seeker, it is not a person, it is an embodiment of young people who are saying, I have a dream, I want to be a sports person, can I do that? So today's job seeker will take us to Sadili Oval, which is an academy here in Nairobi. But before that, I'm joined in studio by a man who has done a lot in trying to develop youth talent, and especially in soccer. I'm talking about one of the founders of Ujuzi Soccer, that is Paul Olungai. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Paul, a lot of excitement, of course, has been created by the idea that sports can be something taken seriously, sports can be a serious profession. From where you sit and what you do every day, how true is this?
It's very true. I'll just start with the KTN or a standard newspaper. They have sports writers. They have sports editors. From there, I can take you to sports clubs where we have gyms where people are trying to ensure that their bodies are fit. From there, I'll take you to football clubs where we have football managers, football coaches. These are all sports-related careers, and therefore, those who feel and think that sports cannot be taken seriously are not really living in the world today. Sports is a multinational and multi-billion dollar industry, not only in Africa but also in Europe. We have quite a number of our players. There's a Mariga, there's Oliech, there's Wanyama, who are playing in Europe and actually bringing home a lot of dollars.
So, Paul, let me just cut you short and just for the sake of our viewers, there are lots of people who are wondering, so where do we start this, right? And I just want to put our focus to a group of young people or an institution that is trying to nurture that. I'm talking about the Sadili Oval Sports Academy here in Nairobi. And let's just take a look at this. Paul, the pictures that we've been seeing on our screens are pictures that you're very familiar with, a lot of activity, a lot of young blood training. But Paul, we are coming from a time where sports was for either of two groups. Either you didn't do so well in school, or you're privileged to have gone to the right school with the right kind of facilities. However, there's a bunch of young people who are saying, I don't belong in those two groups, but I want to excel in sports. I want to have a career in sports.
Well, what I've seen actually is looks like a school with all sports, football, basketball, swimming, and all that. It is true that the people thought that for you to excel in sports, you just have to fail.
Right.
I have to also emphasize the fact that one has to study hard.
Okay.
You have to have good grades because they open your doors. But there are many sports clubs and there are many sports youth organizations which are offering not all sports like we've seen there, but specializing in either football or basketball or swimming, which the youth can actually join during the holidays or during the weekends, so that they can actually promote and they can be nurtured.
Well, let's focus a little bit on soccer, or football, if you like. That's what they call it here. And this is something that you do every day, being part of the people that run the Ujuzi Soccer Academy. A lot has been said that we need to start early. We need to start early in training our young people to get into sports and whatnot. Take us through what goes in developing a professional sports person.
Well, in Ujuzi, we admit people are boys and girls who are 5 years and above. As we get them, we try them out and find the strength they have and the weaknesses where we work on. And we put them in age groups. Those who are 5 to 7 years, we put them in one group. 8 to 10 years, just like that, all the way to the team that we have in the county league. We train them all aspects of football, all aspects of fitness, from flexibility to agility to endurance, and we engage them in football matches, fixtures, and then we also engage them in tournaments for them to have a confidence. Then we expose them. We expose them either locally here, where we organize tournaments, or we take them to tournaments in different parts of Nairobi. And also those who have the ability and capable, we take them to Europe.
And Paul, there's pictures on the side of our screen right now, pictures coming from your academy, the Ujuzi Soccer. Do we have success stories coming from Kenya? Do we have young Kenyans who took part in your academy or a similar institution, and success stories out there?
Well, what you see are pictures when we participated in Sweden Gothia Cup, and Portugal Mundialito, Costa da Rauda in Spain, and Dana Cup in Denmark. Those are the pictures you're seeing in green. These are 12 years and below, I think about 6 years ago. That's Tony Nyauga, Nyauga's son. We have success stories. Tony Nyauga is in Bolton, Honduras, as we speak, under 18. He's doing his university studies there. Bolton Wanderers. We have Louis Misiko in Nice, France. We have Ayub Timbe, who is playing for Harambee Stars, scored a goal in Comoros, and is in Geng. So we have success stories. We have quite a number of them. We have Sofapaka, we had Humphrey Mieno, who was in Sofapaka, went to Tanzania and came back. So we have success stories.
Is it just for privileged kids who go to good schools, or the parents can get them to an academy like yours?
No, we are open to anybody who is willing to come and obey our rules and enjoy our structures. Yes.
What do you think are some of the biggest challenges facing young people who want to be professional sports people, not just soccer, but any other field that they may want to choose?
I think the parental stigma and the parental attitude that sports is not for those who have brains. That's number one. Number two, we don't have safe facilities. One has to partner with clubs with good facilities, safe, good fields. The old traditional grounds which we had in the 60s and 70s when I grew up, let's say Ziwani or Jericho or Kileleshwa, have all gone. And even if they are there, they're not safe, they're not maintained. So for us to play good football, as you see, it's a little oval, they have facilities. And if the children do not have those facilities around them, then those are big challenges and setbacks.
Paul, what are the opportunities that lie in this sector that can be tapped in the immediate term?
Opportunities are there. Children have talent. Children are willing. Kids are willing to play. Kids are not only in football. You've seen what our runners can do. They are running. They are bringing fame to our country. So the opportunities are there. All you have to do is to tap them at early stage rather than waiting until they are too old to be tapped.
Right. Well, I know our time is up, but for those of us who are watching, you must not leave without a comment. What is wrong with Kenyan football? If you were to suggest in less than 30 seconds, what would you...
You cannot have a university without a primary school. You cannot have a secondary school without a primary school. You must have those structures. You must have kindergarten, you must have primary school, you must have secondary school, you must have high school, then you must have a university. You cannot have masters and you don't have first degree. So we cannot have Harambee Stars, we cannot have Gor Mahia, and there are no structures which support well-organized structures all over the country. And that's actually where we fail, because we tend to believe that our national body, and they're working under a lot of constraint and a lot of, I don't blame them fully, but those are the things. If I was told, I would actually ban Harambee Stars for 5 years and go down and have structures from each and every city, each and every county, and nurture talent and then bring them up. When you have good players, also you need a good coach, but when you have good players, you're done.
Right. A lot of criticism comes for people like you who manage, and people are saying, well, we have good talent, but the agencies and the managers are not good, and they're exploiting these young people. What do you say to that as we wind up?
Well, there's nothing for free.
Right.
There's nothing for free. You're not sitting here for free. For you to get a service or any goods, you have to pay for it. And there's no way, for example, you can have a club like that and not buy footballs, not buy cones, not have transport, not market. You must have something. You must have some fee for a service. And it's the government which can actually give those services free. And even if the government gives them free, they've gotten money from somewhere. So those who are actually coming out like Sadili or they're doing a good job, and it's not free. You're not going to go there and swim for free. That swimming pool has Chlorine has to be bought, the water has to be, somebody has to, everything, there's nothing for free.
Nothing for free.
Nothing for free.
But what you're saying is that there is hope in the future of sports in this country.
A lot of hope, but we are working through some very poor structures. The country has not put in structures which are good enough to encourage. Those who come from Mathare, for example, where are the fields for them to play? People can only play in these areas where we have Runda or parklands because they are clubs.
Great. So we need to invest in that.
Yes.
Paulo Lungai, that's a good place to wind up. Thank you for making time to highlight on the potential that is sports as a business. And if you're out there looking to get into sports as your career, then there are opportunities. There's a Daily Sports, there's Ujuzi Soccer, and many others who are institutions that are well-meaning and they want to develop sports in this country. So yes, indeed, sports can be a job. This has been KTN Job Center. The market has seen increased attention and investment over the last few years as fast banks and now service providers jostle for a piece of the lucrative sector. But the raft of new rules and the changing landscape brought about by the entry of new players could launch a new world order that changes the sector as we know it. Here's KTN's Adelaide Chankole.
You've got voice. You've got data. The third market is the transaction market, which is the M-Pesa and the payment market.
It is this reality that is pushing players in the financial and commercial sector to capitalize on the lucrative sector, which has unveiled a new frontier that promises ever greater returns.
There's a lot of money to be made from that particular sector.
And already there is a reorganization in the sector as players seek to entrench their pole positions. Safaricom and Airtel are planning to purchase the assets of U-Mobile, which is bowing out of the country following years of losses.
Still trying to buy the assets of SR's U-Mobile, which should just increase the amount of base stations they have around, which will increase quality.
But news that Orange, which runs Telecom Kenya, was planning to sell its 70% stake is sending jitters throughout the market. Amongst the bidders is Vital Corporation of Vietnam, a low-cost mobile services provider, which is said to have placed a 10.6 billion shilling bid for Orange's stake in the ailing telco. Safaricom's chief executive, Bob Collymore, is quoted as saying that a successful bid by Vital would change the game in Kenya, since the Vietnamese are fiercely competitive and very low cost. In his estimation, Vital changed the game in Mozambique, and local providers will have to knuckle down and deal with that. But the competition is already on the increase after the Communications Authority of Kenya licensed 3 mobile virtual network operators.
They have to be very careful because equity will give them a run for their money. Shareholders will want to see some kind of action from Safaricom, some kind of response.
And now, even Kenya Airways is making a play for this market after signing a deal with Airtel to provide mobile services to end users without holding a spectrum license. But even as the landscape shifts, new frontiers emerge and competition heats up, the experts say ongoing innovation in Safaricom will keep it in competition and in contention for years to come.
It will be very difficult to unseat Safaricom.
Adelaide Changole, KTN Business.
Right, well, everyone is getting into the mobile telephony business. Others are changing jobs. And the outgoing Kenya Airways Chief Executive, Titus Naikuni, has been appointed to head the board of directors of Rift Valley Railways. Naikuni, whose appointment becomes effective in November, will spearhead the railways operators' turnaround following a reconstitution of the shareholding structure. Prior to joining the KQ in 2003, Naikuni had served as managing director for Magadi Soda, where he set up the company's railway operation. Magadi Railway is back in 2006. Now, RVR is seeking to tap into his vast knowledge and knowledge on policy formulation to steer RVR into a profitable path. Now, in the past 26 months, the company has invested 11 billion in rehabilitating the operation by installing modern railway operating technology, rebuilding infrastructure, expanding haulage capacity, and developing modern rail operating skills in the 2,400-strong workforce. Moving on, the East African Breweries is reviewing its Senator keg business with a view of shutting it down after it became unprofitable for the brewer. Now, this comes after the government introduced 50% excise duty on keg that saw its sales drop by over 70%. Now, the brewer last week announced a 4% growth in sales, and it is looking for innovative ways to drive revenues into double-digit growth. KTN's Michael Karanja sat down with EABL CEO Charles Ireland and brings us this report.
Senator Keg was first introduced into the market in 2004 with one intended purpose, giving consumers an alternative to illicit alcohol. Since then, it has gone on to be East African Brewery's bestseller by volume, even outstripping sales of its flagship product, Tusker. But all that changed in 2013 when the government introduced 50% excise duty on Senator with a view of netting 6.2 billion shillings annually. But that has since gone pear-shaped for both the government and the brewer.
The reality of the consequence of that excise tax implementation is that volumes collapsed. Immediately after excise tax went on to Senator, volumes were down by over 90%. 12,000 dedicated outlets selling pretty much only Senator. 4,000 of them are closed, still closed today.
The challenge for EABL stems from the price-sensitive nature of the product. When the excise duty became effective, Senator prices shot up, which led to a drastic drop in sales. And now EABL CEOs that if the business keeps bleeding money, it could be shut down.
That kind of leads us to have to think hard about, whether to continue in that sector, because consumers don't want it at that price. The retailers are going out of business because they don't have a customer base to service. The distributors are under financial strain, and it's not making any sense for us. Now, to be fair, it's not making any sense for the government either, because they wanted 6.2 billion. They haven't got anything like that.
In February, EABL stopped daily brewing at its Ruaraka plant due to the downturn in Senator sales. And now the brewer is faced with another huge challenge of how to dispose close to 13,000 tons of sorghum it had sourced from its farmers. EABL has contracts with close to 20,000 sorghum farmers, which it says it might have to cancel if the business line does not recover.
We just don't need the sorghum anymore because we're not selling the Senator.
EABL has been lobbying the government to reverse its decision on the excise duty on Senator with little success, and its decision to review the business is seen as a measure of last resort. Michael Karanja, KTN Business.
In basketball, over 70 schoolboys from all over Africa will take part in a two-day basketball camp designed to help young basketball players develop their game. The camp is being run by the first African-born general manager in the NBA with the Denver Nuggets, Masai Ujiri. Out of 70 schoolboys, the number will be whittled down to 50 at the end of the camp, which has some input from local coaches. Giants of Africa has in the past been responsible for scouting young basketball talent in Africa. And this is the first time they are here in Kenya, having drawn players from Congo, South Sudan, South Africa, Ethiopia, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, as well as Burundi.
Been doing camps, basketball without borders. I think there's 8 kids that have gone on to play in the NBA. In my camps in Nigeria, maybe there's a couple, 2 that have gone on to play in the NBA or be drafted. What about the other kids? And where are they? What have they done? A lot have gone to school. A lot have got degrees. A lot have created opportunity from themselves. From all these sessions that you try to teach to use basketball as a tool.
Not specifically, the best of the best yet, but there's 1 or 2 that are really standing out. And there's a lot that have potential. I think that's really important. There's kids that maybe have only played for a year, or maybe have even never played, and seen that potential and being able to get them better in a year from now or 2 years from now is what's really important at this game.
Let's hope to see some NBA Kenyan stars, future stars.